Welcome to Connecting with Corinne, the podcast where I help you find your community one story and connection at a time. I'm your host, Corinne, and each week I explore inspiring conversations that connect us to the world around us, spark new ideas, and help build stronger, more meaningful connections, whether it's through personal stories, thought-provoking discussions, or shared experiences. We're here to bring diverse perspectives to the table, so let's dive in and start. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Connecting with Corinne. I am so blessed to have a guest today. Her name is Sierra Drummond. Sierra and I have actually met through somebody, Vera, who was a guest on season 1. So this is how we're starting to connect now. I am starting to meet more strangers and people that I haven't actually gotten to know quite well, and I'm being connected through other people. So this is the power of the podcast and the power of connection. So this is Sierra. Hi, Sierra. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. So Sierra is a marketing coach for women, and she also has the Full Potential Club. So Sierra, why don't you introduce yourself and tell people more about you?
Hi, Sierra Drummond here. I'm the founder of Full Potential Club, and when I'm not running the club, I'm also a marketing coach for female small business owners as well. And so, a little bit of background, Full Potential Club is essentially a space and a community for ambitious, driven, really like goal-oriented people who just are looking for mentorship or inspiration or places to just connect with others in that sense. And then my marketing business, like I said, mostly done online. So I can help people all across Canada, which is amazing with that. And just really trying to build marketing strategies that work for small business owners and what's going on in their life.
So can you tell us a little bit more about the Full Potential Club?
Yeah, for sure. So we actually just launched in January. This kind of came in a personal way last fall. So, what started as just an idea, I was looking for more out of my own personal life, and I've been on a little bit of a self-improvement journey and like personal development. I'm just someone who I really want to live like a big, fulfilling life, even down to the day, which of course you always have to take that with a grain of salt and still take care of yourself too. But last year I was just craving a little bit more from the conversations that I was having with people around me. And I was having some really, really great chats with any paid professionals in my life. I was going to therapy and working with a trainer. And I just found there's got to be more individuals like me around my age who maybe have this similar drive and want a lot out of their life, or they're looking to create something that brings them a lot of purpose. And I couldn't find that. So I didn't actually want to start anything. I was Googling clubs to learn about money for young women or clubs to put goal setting into action and came up with nothing. So I ended up starting Full Potential Club.
That's amazing. So who is the Full Potential Club for? I know you said it was for like-minded individuals. Is this targeted for women or is there men as well?
So it's a very, I would say, like soft target audience. We do tend to attract a lot of females. That said, we've also had men at our events, and so they're absolutely welcome. And when I started, a bit of a backstory, my mother used to run women weekends for 10 years. And when
Okay.
I started the club, I was like, okay, this is not what my mom did. I had to be very different from her. And so at first I was like, okay, this is for women in their 20s and 30s or men. Since then, I've received a lot of feedback, and a lot of people I think can benefit from this club regardless of their age. So we've actually had attendees come who are even in their 50s and 60s, and we'd love to see that too. I would say like the only thing that you have to be to come to the club would be like being driven, being authentic, coming and being yourself, and just being open-minded.
And then what do you guys do at the club? Is there like monthly events, weekly events?
Yeah, so the club is primarily a couple events per month. They can be either in person or online. And a lot of the time, we actually will have a guest speaker who will come and provide a wealth of knowledge on a certain topic. So, some of the events we've had in the past include manifesting and your money mindset, goal setting workshops, gut health for women's health, and what else? We've done yoga classes. So yeah, it's kind of a very broad I would say, range of events that we've had. But at the same time, they all kind of fall under some umbrella of becoming your best self.
Oh, that's amazing.
Thank
That
you.
sounds so cool. Yeah, and then just tell us a little bit more about your marketing coach. How did you get into marketing? What was it that brought you into marketing and then becoming a coach?
Absolutely. Funny enough, I wouldn't say I ever kind of just set out one day and said, "Oh, I'm going to be a marketing coach." I did not see this coming. So, my background is actually in public relations. It's what I went to school for. And once I graduated, jumped into a 9 to 5, I was in nonprofit for a bit, and then I pivoted over to corporate. And again, as part of this journey of last year, just trying to really find out what is my why in this life and what am I truly deeply passionate about. I decided to move the needle forward with my consulting business. So throughout university and kind of always on the side of my 9 to 5s, I did some social media consulting and marketing consulting for just small clients, I would say, like just always on the side, just a little bit of extra income at the time. I was looking for really deep purpose. And so I said, okay, maybe I can take this side gig that I've had for a long time and turn it into maybe more of what I would enjoy full time if I were to keep doing this and make it bigger. So I actually moved from being the freelancer who's doing the work for these folks into helping them and empowering them to take on this work if they have the capacity. So I saw a bit of a gap between people who want help with their marketing, but A, maybe can't afford yet in their business to hire someone to do it for them,
Mhm.
or B, maybe they are their own kind of personal brand and they want that to feel really genuine, authentic, shine through. They're not ready to give up coming across as themselves on social media or email or website. And so I now get to work with these business owners who have no background in marketing and sit down and say, okay, what does a realistic plan look like for you? And how could we help you find clients that feels true to you and who you are, along with your brand and your business? Kind of like pulling out the tactics and seeing what would fit for them. So whether that's going on podcasts and going to events and promoting themselves and speaking, or maybe it's just building them a content plan and helping them with some of their social media tactics.
Oh, I love that. And then are most of your clients female entrepreneurs or is there some?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely grew up in a primarily female environment. I went to an all-girls school from a young age, and I also grew up as a competitive dancer. So for me, I'm super lucky and privileged to have such strong female relationships in my life, which kind of led to Full Potential Club and has also led to helping more so female business owners as well.
And then what else are you doing to create community in your life?
Yeah, so I feel like honestly, the club has been a big part, just learning to, you know, be creating something for other people. So I think it's really
Mhm.
cool how what started as something almost like, I want to say a little bit selfish because I had this need and I knew that I wanted to get something out of the club. But now also taking myself out of the equation and just holding space for others. I often make all of my decisions for Full Potential Club based on what others need. So whether that's running an Instagram poll on my story or just trying to get feedback from those who are closer to me, trying to figure out like what is it that these other younger women need or want to learn about when it comes to topics. And also, what are their favorite parts about coming to our events? We try not to just have a seminar or webinar, but more so incorporate like connection pieces and community building pieces into the events where you're looking at someone and you're saying, hey, what are you working on right now that you're super passionate about? We're not just asking, what do you do for work and having the surface level small talk conversations, but can we go a little bit deeper without going too far out of our comfort zone? And so just really trying to make the club about others and yeah, I guess just kind of pulling myself out of that equation.
Oh, that sounds so amazing. I love it. So
Thank
what
you.
is coming up for the club?
Yeah, so we actually have an exciting fall. Something I forgot to mention previously too, looking at what's been working for the club and also maybe what still feels like it's missing. Right now, we're about 8 months into this journey, and I guess coming up on a year since I got the idea to start. But right now, I'm still kind of missing that piece where folks can come to an event or show up and actually talk through what's going well with them. We do attract a lot of business owners, so maybe they want to talk about some business problems too. But I've always wanted to implement a bit of a forum, I guess, where you can come, show up, learn, and then also get to actually check in and provide an update as to where you're at. Because I think that just helps with accountability in terms of growing, whether it's yourself and it's a personal goal or it's your business, like I said, or a side hustle. And so we're actually launching this fall the online collective as well, which will be very much just a virtual space. You hop on Zoom for a couple hours. Like I said, we'll maybe hear from a guest speaker, or I would run my own personal kind of development workshop in that sense. And then there'll be group sharing at the end where you can check in with the same folks and just get a little bit more of that consistency with who you're talking to and getting the chance to show up and reflect and actually see progress. So that'll be launching on September 17th to the public. And so you can register. And then basically, it's kind of just like a monthly membership. You also get access to quarterly guest speakers who will come on and bring their expertise. And then there'll be a 24/7 group chat as well, where we can share tools, ask questions, and really just stay in touch and be held accountable over the weeks that we don't meet online.
Mm-hmm. Because I do think accountability that helps with a lot of people. Or for a lot of people, I think,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. And I think that's exactly something that I was missing too. Like, again, working with my personal trainer, we did a lot more than just the physical work, which was really surprising to me. I was honestly just surprised at how much I changed mentally after going through my own fitness journey too. And I just remember thinking like, wow, if I didn't have this person who made me actually check in every single Sunday and look back at how the week went, not only physically, not just with what I ate and how I worked out, but how I felt and how I was talking to myself and thinking about myself, I definitely wouldn't have been seeing the progress and becoming the person that I would like to think that I got to transition into.
I think that's what people miss about or don't understand about some personal trainers is that yes, we can be that person who tells you how to do the fitness program and we can tell you what to eat. But sometimes we have to look at people and say, how are you feeling? We can say you have to be consistent regardless of how you feel, right? You have to go to the gym. Even if you don't feel like going to the gym, go to the gym,
Mhm.
right? And do the workouts. It can be really taxing and struggling and just mentally exhausting if you're not in that mind space. And so to have a coach check in and be like, hey, how are you feeling? Are you in a place or in a space where you're feeling like you're going to have to eat your emotions today?
Yeah.
Or it's like, to hell with everything that I'm doing. I am not well mentally or emotionally, and I want to eat not just like a little bit of cake, like I want the whole fucking cake.
Totally.
Can talk me down from this because clearly I'm just going to self-sabotage, which then you're going to get mad at me for, and I'm going to be disappointed. And it's a cycle. And then we get sad, and I'm definitely that person who eats my feelings. So then you go into that, well, fuck it. I'm just going to eat all my feelings. Hell
Yeah.
with the program.
It's so true. If you can have someone who can, I guess, at least just give you tactics or tools in that moment, and maybe you're not even able to talk to them every time you're having kind of those feelings, but
No.
in the moments that aren't feeling so great and you're about to kind of go down that slippery slope of whatever was comfy before, someone who can say, hey, here's what you're going to do to get out of it, or you're alone, all you got is you got a choice to make, and then someone to hold you accountable to that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you really want that piece of cake? Yes. Or do you want to go for the walk? No, not really. But, I know going for that walk will make me feel better.
Mhm.
I won't have that regret. So I think it's definitely having those people who are just holding you accountable and just having, like you said, they're not going to be there 24/7. Some might. There's going to be some people who will just say, here's the tools. If you are feeling this way, what is another alternative to then just eating your feelings or whatever it is, right? Or lounging or whatever. There are some times where it's like, give yourself some grace. Yeah, eat a piece of chocolate if that's what you need, right? But not the whole chocolate bar, which can be really hard.
Totally. But I think it's relevant to every area of life. Like I
Yeah.
said, like it's crazy how it just, yeah, learning to balance and learning to let yourself rest if you've been on a really high productive train throughout the week or whatever that looks like. So yeah, I'm so excited to launch the online collective. I think it'll just be quite literally life-changing for a lot of people and something that I wish that I just got to stumble upon and be part of and not maybe fully had to run myself, but I am so excited to run it.
That is great. I think people do definitely need that. And I think it's just having just others being your cheerleaders, but then also being that support system too of it's okay. We
Yeah.
got you. We're here for you if you need help or advice. Because I think everyone's got such amazing experiences and that we don't even know about, right? Until you get into these spaces and these containers and then you realize, oh, this person has had so much experience, even if they're young. You can't judge a person by their age anymore because some people have had amazing and so many life-changing experiences, even at a young age, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on the person. But then you also have the older people too. Some of them may have lived sheltered lives, right? And haven't experienced a whole lot of things. I think it really depends on the person and what they're bringing. So I think this is going to be so exciting for you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's incredible also just to see like how women tend to show up to each event, whether it's online or in person, and then watching them just really let their guard down over the 2 hours that we're together and through those uncomfortable conversations that we might be having or opening perspectives or when you leave a room inspired because you learned something new and you're like ready to go take action. It's so cool to watch women just start to naturally chat with those around them and actually get to know each other. You might come in with these preconceived notions of who the others are around you or why you may or may not click with them. And then also so beautifully surprising to see when sometimes those are actually wrong, you know?
Yeah, well, I think with women, I love seeing the empoweredness of it all. I know growing up, there was always that, I don't want to say power struggle. I guess it would just be like competitiveness, but yet at the same time, there kind of was. It was hard enough to be on an all-female basketball team. There was always kind of competition with girls. When I became an adult, it was like, oh, they're not competition. You know,
Yeah.
you can be friends with them. And not that I didn't have girlfriends like I do, but I mean, there was always like the rumors and pettiness and cattiness and bullying. There was some uplifting, but not a whole lot. Now it's amazing just to see all these different groups of people and just being empowered by what women can do and what they're doing in any realm, like sports or through business,
Yeah,
as they
absolutely.
evolve and
And
grow.
yeah, I feel very lucky that I got to witness the beautiful end of that growing up. Like I said, I had a lot of good, close girlfriends from a young age. I remember, I think I was in grade 4, and my mom was like, I think we're going to send you to the all-girls school. And I was like, oh, no, no, I don't want to go there. That sounds horrible. And I ended up writing a pros and cons list because that was my mom's solution to everything. We actually had a course called Go Girls. And at the time, I thought it was so silly. This is how to make friends. But it was really so much more than that. And now that I'm an adult, I am so grateful that I got to experience that because I don't think a lot of women did have that experience growing up. And then also witnessing it on the other end, where I was in dance and we were looking in the mirrors and comparing our bodies every single day for 2, 3 hours a night and not even realizing it. And I know a lot of girls who come to Full Potential Club, they actually say, yeah, I've never really felt totally safe around women. I've had these experiences where I've been put down or I've felt fearful of judgment or shame for some reason of just being in that room and people not fully knowing who I am. And so I think even though we've come such a long way from historically where women have been before, it's crazy to me that there is still work to do, even though it's 2025.
Mhm. Well, I think there always will be for anyone, right? Because there's always going to be just some judgments and stereotypes and all those things that just get bombarded. And then you have things like social media now. That's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
And what people want to put out there. Even people who put things out there, are they being authentic or are they not being authentic? And it's what do we want to show people? and it's not necessarily all the things. Like when people go through their reels and stuff, like we're
Mm.
showing the great stuff. We're not necessarily showing the bad stuff. Now, there are some people who are willing to put out some of the bad things that they're going through because that A helps them heal, but then also that is their platform for helping others heal who are going through similar situations, whether it be like a breakup or a death in the family or whatever tragedy or bad things that have happened. And they're trying to change that mindset. But for the most part, I think most people are like, look at me. This is all the amazing stuff. I'm guilty of it too. This is all the amazing stuff. I'm not putting any of my shit out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is such a hard thing to do. I think it's hard for people to even just show up and put themselves out there on social media, let alone if it's not part of your highlight reel. And I'm guilty of it too. Like, I think naturally, I just think I celebrate my wins and I post when I'm in a good mood, but I'm not exactly sharing all of the hard days that I struggle when it comes to being a business owner and trying to create this startup that doesn't really have a defined path and figuring it all out by myself because I don't have a business partner or anything like that. So yeah, definitely. I really hope that people are still being conscious of what they're consuming when it comes to social media. I think at
Mhm.
the end of the day, like, no, you cannot control what other people are going to put up there or maybe comment, but you can control who you at least follow and what you choose to indulge in, if you will.
Yes. I know my algorithms used to be just pandas and comedians, and now it's changed a little bit. I think some motivational quotes and stuff, but yeah, for the most part, especially on my personal page, all my friends know I'm just throwing in either really funny stuff on my reels or on my stories, and then motivational stuff, and then podcasting things. I think that's mostly,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
and then
No,
the random wins that I have, or look, I'm at a concert or something. But yeah, that's
yeah.
pretty much, those are pretty much my reels.
Mhm.
There always needs to be that discernment too of, like you said, what you have to follow, who you want to follow, and what's going to help you. It's always nice to see your friends and stuff, but I know there's some people in my life that are having a tough time or whatever, and then posting some amazing things. I'm glad you're having a good day, and
Yeah.
it's good to see you out there. But you kind of know like the backstories too.
Totally, yeah. And I think that's also another thing that was in the back of my mind when I was starting Full Potential Club, because I remember this piece of me just wanted it to take off and I just wanted anyone to come. I just wanted it to be successful, like anyone would. But at the same time, I remember sitting down with myself and being like, okay, this is not maybe just for anyone and everyone. I really want to hold the intention true to what this club is. And with that being said, I remember I had to be super conscious of the way that I was speaking about the club on social media. And that's, I would say, Instagram is primarily how I grew it, using a lot of my own personal network and asking people to use word of mouth too. But not just sending this to influencers who were local. Hey, will you come and post about my event or that kind of thing? Just because, again, like when you have core values of authenticity, how much can you really just rely on social media, right? You also have to be walking the walk.
Yeah. And like you said, finding those people, finding the right people for your club, or for any community, right? Because there's always going to be some people who may not be that right person, and that's fine. And if it ends up being like you have this club and only like one person shows up, you've affected that one person who
Yeah.
then talk to their friends about the club and then bring in more people that way. I even have the grand like ideas. This is going to blow up one day and maybe one day it will. But at the end of the day, even if I get one listener listening to any of these episodes, I'm super grateful. And I'm
Oh,
always grateful. I don't even look at the algorithms or the numbers of people because your ego can get bruised.
yeah, for sure.
So
And
I don't even bother. I just look, I'm like, okay, that's nice. There's people listening, probably just like my parents or one friend.
I love it. But still, that's the one person that who knows what they needed to hear. A girlfriend of mine, she just finished her yoga teacher training and she came back and I said to her, what was your biggest takeaway? What did you learn that stuck with you? And she said she now follows this quote that says, everyone is having the experience that they're meant to. And with that being said, it also means you can't change anyone's experience. You can't make them resonate with something. You can't try to control the room, which I hold close to my heart when I'm hosting my events too, because some people show up with no expectations and others show up with high expectations. And it's just been such a powerful quote that helps me remember that, like, no matter what happens, no matter how something performs online, no matter how many people come to an event, no matter how many listeners your podcast gets, everyone's having the experience they're meant to in order
Mhm.
to learn what they need to learn right now.
Yeah. And as a yoga instructor, I can totally resonate with that. At the end of the day, everyone, even in a yoga class, there's going to be people who mostly leave happy. Usually there's those memes of someone's so sad and they got like the little rain cloud over them. And then after yoga, they're like the little shiny unicorn with like rainbows coming out their asses and stuff like that. Like yoga makes me that happy. But here's the thing, sometimes in a yoga pose, we open up a chakra that is holding onto shit. And there are times when people actually will come out of a class angry. Not very often, but there are times when people are just like, that was like the worst class. Or I teach a dragon dance class, and every once in a while, and I warn my yoga students, and I'm like, okay, it's that time of month. We're going to do dragons dance. And I love that class. Not everyone loves it, and people will leave. Some people actually have literally walked out of my class over the years of teaching just this one class. And I'll teach it once a month because it's hard. It's a sequence class. It's amazing. That being said, it's not for everyone. And
Mm,
I know that. And I know people may walk out and I'm like, hey, just have an open heart, open mind. You may not like this class. Good news is I'm only teaching it once a month. So I will
yeah.
give you lots of time and warning that this is happening. And then you can show up or you can leave. And I give that option to people and I give them a big heads up, especially that's harder for a drop in, but for the regulars, I'm like, okay, it's coming. Just so you
Yeah.
know, because either you love it or you really hate it.
Yeah, and I would be so curious too. How do you find, because you are obviously a massive community builder, you're hosting these classes, you're holding space for people as well in what you do every day. Is there anything that you have found valuable that helps you continue to hold your own and not let your ego get too bruised? Egos are not a big piece and you should learn to let go of it, but how do you keep yourself safe and confident and motivated when that kind of stuff comes up too?
Honestly, especially for the Dragon's Dance, it's such a passion of mine that I just love it so much that I'm like, I am sharing this with you. I think that's self-awareness that not this isn't for everyone, right? And I will tell people this going into it, I'm like, this is not for everyone. Some people will love this yoga, some people hate it. And there's no in between. Either you love it or you hate it. Like there's some people who are like, maybe. Yeah, no, it's more, it's one or the other. I say to people, like, have an open heart, open mind. And I'm one of those people too that I like to joke and I like to be non-serious. So for myself, I've learned over the years not to take it personally. When I was a yoga instructor at the beginning, I was always so worried about my classes. Am I teaching well? Like if I said the things and are people resonating? And it gets to a certain point where there are thousands of yoga instructors, right?
Yeah.
Like just even in Calgary, let alone Alberta. So there's over 1,000 yoga instructors in Calgary. You can take my class, you could take somebody else's class, and it's going to be totally different. And
Mhm.
people will either resonate with me, they might like me, and they're like, yeah, I'm totally going to come back. Some people like it, some people don't. And then they're like, oh, actually, I like this yoga instructor better. Perfect. Great. Find your people, find your person. And go with those people or go with that studio or whatever. It gets to a certain point where you just realize I am going to be my authentic self. I am going to be like, this is what you get.
Mhm.
What you see is what you get, you know, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on that person. And then you can either come back or you don't.
Yeah.
And if you have fun and you like the music or however, because I also teach like Zumba and fitness classes and all these other things. And I joke with people all the time, especially if I'm subbing. If you don't like my class, good news, I'm only subbing. You're stuck with me for one day. Or if it's my regular class, I'm like, so this is my regular class. If you don't like it, you can find another class. Too bad, so sad. My two goals for any of my classes, I want you to have fun and I want you to feel like you've done something, like some sort of workout. And I don't want you to come to me and be like, I had no cardio because I can tell you, even on deck or in my classes, like my heart rate's going up. your heart rate should be going up. And if your heart rate's not going up, I can't force you to move. I can't go into the water or I can't be on land and moving your body for you. You have to move. My goal
Yeah.
is to motivate you to move, but if you choose to sit and talk with your friends the whole entire time in my class, that's on you. And then you can't come back to me and be like, Corinne, there was no cardio today. Because I'm like, no, actually, I know my classes. There's cardio.
Yeah.
You just choose not to go hard. And that's not on me. That's on you. So I will throw it back onto some people too. And I'll be like, I'm not going to deal with your bullshit. Like, I'll hold you accountable. But at the same time, I also will take that feedback as well and be like, okay, well, maybe I'm not pushing you as much as I thought I was. I can only move you so far, though, and I can
Mhm.
push you so far. So next class, maybe I'll push you guys a little bit more. Like, come on, guys, go harder. Like, I can't move you. You have to move yourselves. So get your asses going in the little pool noodle or whatever it is. If you're in the pool or on land, you're moving, you're getting that heart rate up. And if you choose not to, that's then your thing. But I always ask them at the end, as long as you had fun, you feel like you've done some sort of movement, then my job's done.
Yeah.
I always say those are my two goals, and I'll give people high fives at the end. And that's just really how I create the space in the container for people. And I can take some responsibility, but at the end of the day, it's up to people. So even for your full potential club, for example, if you even come in with two goals and say, hey, today these are the goals, as long as people are connecting and having fun, my job is done.
Yeah, well, I was
Right?
loving that so much because as you were talking, I'm like, oh, this is so full circle. This is exactly what I'm talking about when I say I'm a marketing coach and I can't do the work for that business owner, or I say I'm showing up and hosting these personal growth sessions, but it's on them to walk away and do that work. And so I just
Yeah.
love that that came right back to that too.
Yeah, you can only do so much for people, and then people have to do it themselves too, right? And sometimes it sucks because you're just like, oh, I don't think this is my client, or I don't think this person is really responding well to me. And then I can just say to them, like, hey, if you don't like my aqua size class or if you don't like my Zumba class, there's other Zumba classes going on here. You can find somebody else who is amazing because I know some amazing instructors. I'll always recommend people, if you don't like my class, take somebody else's class. My feelings are not going to get hurt because I want you to succeed and I want you to be able to have a good experience with a yoga class or a fitness class or whatever it is. And if you don't and you're not resonating with me, that's okay. There's other people. So I think for me, if it's taken a lot over the years and it didn't happen. This did not happen overnight.
Yeah.
This has taken years of growth and self-awareness. Because like I said, when I first started, I was terrified of what are people going to think? Am I doing a good job teaching? Am I being authentic enough? And you just start having these stories in your head and you're like, I hope people liked me. I think that's the biggest thing for anyone is that you want to be liked, you want to have clients, you want people to come back to your classes. But when you actually stop, I don't want to say caring about that because I still want people to come to my classes, but
Yeah.
I get to that point where I'm like, okay, like I said, I have my two goals. And if people like that, great. And if people don't, then it's not for them. They can continue on with whatever instructor that they want to go to, or they can start to come to my classes and then they
Yeah.
can start resonating with me. I think that self-awareness, but also for me, like I said, having more of that lightheartedness and joking, that it doesn't bother me. It's taken, like I said, a lot, but it doesn't bother me anymore.
Yeah, I always have this lecture slide from university pop up in my head when I have talks about this. It was referring to marketing. It was you can't be everything for everyone, or else you end up being nothing for anyone, which I think is just it kind of like falls into every piece of life. But no, you're right. And you also just have to trust that like the right people are going to stick and stay with you and see you. And yeah, like you're not going to click with everyone. And at the end of the day, that's okay. It's okay to let go of the people-pleasing tendencies that we're born with a little bit.
Growing up, my parents always worried about what other people think. And in my yoga teacher training, my teacher trainer said to us, I know everyone worries about what are people thinking? What are people thinking? But she said, here's the thing. She's like, no one is actually thinking about you. If you really think about it, everyone else is thinking about what other people are thinking about them, that they are not even thinking about you,
All
right?
having this selfish thought.
If you're in this yoga class, everyone is worried about what do I look like doing this pose? Are other people judging me? They are not judging the instructor because they're in their own heads doing the same thing. And as an instructor, you're now doing that. So you've got 25 people plus yourself all thinking, are people judging me? What do I look like in this pose? Am I teaching well? Nobody is thinking this instructor sucks.
No, no, it's
Or
true.
some might be like, oh, this was really hard. This sucks. It's not necessarily the instructor itself, it's just the class itself. So it's not necessarily the judgment. Judgment may come later afterwards. Then they think about, oh, actually, that was a really hard class. I don't really like it. I don't like the voice of the teacher or whatever. But in that moment, everyone is focusing on themselves and they're judging themselves more harshly than they are judging you. So I
Oh,
think when I had that aha moment, I was like, oh, okay. I still want people to like me, but
yeah, of course, of course. Yeah, and it's hard to let go of those thoughts. I feel like they honestly just come naturally. Like it's almost like we're born with them. And I can remember even my mom has told me that as a young girl, when I was super little, I walked into a room of a bunch of girls. I think I was like probably 5. And I was like, oh, I don't like those girls. And my mom said, why? And I said, well, they don't like me. And she said, how do you know? Have you ever spoken to them? And I said, no, I just don't think they're going to like me. And it's just crazy like that still sits with me when I'm walking into rooms and I'm like, okay, nobody knows your past. Nobody is judging you. And I say this when I'm at my events and hosting the events too. I'm like, you might be sitting here a little bit nervous or wondering what people are thinking next to you, but I promise you, like, this is a safe space. We all came here to meet one another, to connect with someone. Everyone ticked that box when they said, why are you coming to this event? And they signed up for it. And it's like learning to just get back onto that common ground. We're the same. We are neutral. We are equal.
Mhm.
And again, like not everyone has to like you, but at least just have an open mind, you know?
And I think that's the hard part. There's so many people who I'm open-minded, but then there's so much judgment there. So it's letting go of any kind of judgment. And over the years, I've now joked, I'm like Switzerland. I have friends who will tell me something and I'll be like, okay, I can see your point. And I mean, I may not necessarily agree with what they're saying, but I'm like, oh, I never thought of it that way. Tell me more,
Yeah.
right? Or if you're having kind of a heated conversation with someone, or I say something that somebody doesn't like, I'm like, okay, wait, that obviously triggered you. What is it that I said that triggered you? What is it that you're not agreeing with me on this? And that's fine. I'm just curious to hear your point of view so that I can have a bit more of an understanding. And
Yeah.
again, I may not necessarily agree with them but I want to hear what they have to say and how it has gotten them so reactive or passionate about something that I didn't understand.
To-
And it's not that I didn't understand, but I want to hear their viewpoint as to why it is they're so passionate about XYZ, right? So, and it can be anything from political to religion or whatever. And it's just like, okay, I just want to hear your point.
Yeah.
And no judgment. Let me hear you so I can understand where you're coming from. And then I can hear your viewpoint, compare it to what I'm seeing or how I feel, and then go from there. And then we can have more of a discussion, or we can not discuss this again. So it's just get that understanding and be like more of a neutral ground
Totally.
because not everything is going to be black and white.
No, and that's like the beauty of working in industries where it's all about the people, right?
Yeah.
And you can't always please everyone. Even for me personally, like I've always been someone who I kind of have always sat in the middle with my perspective, and I have a hard time making decisions
Me too.
because I can see both ends, and it sounds like you're the same way when you say you're Switzerland. And so, yeah, like learning how to just hear people out and then find acceptance because at the end of the day, if it's not directly impacting you in your life, like that's okay then. Just that's
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's exactly it. And it just reminds me, I don't know if you've seen this video on social media, but there was a professor and he had two students and they were arguing about a ball. And on one side, it was painted black and the other side is painted white. The way that they did the video is like you got two guys on either side of this table and the professor's sitting kind of on the side and you just see the one-sided ball and it's white. And the professor says, what color is the ball? And the guy's like, well, it's black. And then the other guy's looking, he's like, well, you're an idiot. It's white. And so
Yeah.
they're having this huge argument. No, I see black. And he's like, well, I see white. Like arguing about this. And then the professor's, okay, stop, switch sides. So they switch sides. And then it just like, what color is the ball? And you could just see both their faces. And then the video shows to the side that it's painted black on one side, painted white on the other. And it was just like, you don't necessarily see both perspectives.
No, and you can't until you have those conversations and you ask, right?
Yeah. It's just one of those visuals of it isn't just black and white, even though you think it is. It's like, oh, this is black, it's white. No, different perspectives. And I always say people have your own story that
Yeah.
you've told and your own reality. So your own truthiness or reality. And then you have somebody else's truthiness or reality with a story, right? For example, you and I are in a car accident. I can be the dramatic person, be like, oh my God, we almost died. You're like, no, it was just a fender bender. Yes, you got in a car accident. That's the truth. How we react to it can be different, totally different. And to me, my reality is, oh my God, I'll never want to go in a car again.
Yeah,
You could
absolutely.
be like, honestly, we were safe. It's fine. No one got hurt. We're good.
Mhm.
Right. And then you have that fly on the wall. This is what actually happened, but we've now created these stories behind it.
Yeah.
I always say that there's five sides to every story because it's your side, my side, and then the actual event, but then anything else that's happened around it, right? And everyone else's perspective of it.
Oh, 100%, which is, yeah, obviously ever changing and also going to be so different depending on lived experience too and what background you're coming from.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got more than two sides to every story.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think for you to hold space for the Full Potential Club is just absolutely amazing.
Thank you. It's extremely rewarding. And I would say, like, I'm honestly proud of myself, but also, like, I know that this club wouldn't be anything that it is without the people who are showing up to be part of it. So I just feel super, super lucky that somehow this is where I've ended up and this is my career now. And I love it so much. It's very rewarding.
That's awesome. And so where can people find you, Sierra?
For sure. So we're on Instagram, Full Potential Club YYC. And I also have my coaching Instagram, which is Sierra Kennedy Content. And then if you want to look at our websites, that's fullpotentialclub.com and also sierrakennedycontent.com.
Perfect. And then I had one more question for you for your marketing. Do you just do one-on-one coaching or are you doing group coaching as well?
I do group coaching as well. So actually in August, we are doing the 4-week intensive where we're meeting every single week. It's a small group format online. So you can either join one of those, which is, yeah, for about 4 weeks, it's called Marketing with Confidence. And it's basically kind of just like an intensive for you to get kick started. But if you're looking for a little bit more long-term, in-depth, and customized programming, that would be one-on-one coaching.
And then you said there was going to be something in November. So can you tell us a little bit about
Yeah.
that?
Absolutely. As we're sitting here recording, I'm still shaping out all of the details, but on Saturday, November 1st, I'm so excited. I'm putting together a 1-day retreat. There's going to be yoga, so it'll be definitely reconnecting with your body, but also some mindset and manifesting work as well. So that's taking place all day in Bragg Creek at a little yoga studio. It's beautiful there. And so if you want more information, check out our Instagram, or you can also find us on Eventbrite for that one.
Okay, cool. And I will put all the links in and I will put the Eventbrite links in and your websites for both the full potential marketing and your marketing coaching as well. So everyone can connect with you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Is there anything else you want to tell the audience before you head off?
No, I guess just thank you so much for giving me a space to share my story and my passions and kind of what I've become to creating, I guess. And yeah, thanks again for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. So, everyone, if you are interested in Sierra, especially the Full Potential Club, which sounds absolutely incredible, definitely reach out to her. The links will be in the show notes. All of the things she's been talking about, the events, the marketing club, the marketing coaching, you'll find the links in the show notes. So, everyone, have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining us today and stay connected. Bye. Thank you for tuning into today's episode. I hope today's conversation sparked something new and reminded you of the power of connection. Please like, subscribe, and share this episode and podcast with others, and continue spreading the message of unity across all walks of life. Until next time, stay connected.